Battle through the firmament. Great world. Chapter 503. Come here. Buzz. In the quiet forest, Shaoyan sat cross-legged on a huge rock, his palms lightly pressed against his abdomen, the source energy within him circulating unceasingly as it gathered in his danshan. Under the circulation of the flame mantra, a large amount of origin ki poured into the origin monic crystal. At this moment, the pure origin monic ki was swirling wildly inside the origin monic crystal. Like a surging river, it continuously collided against the inner walls of the crystal. Vaguely, the embryonic form of a miniature spatial zone had already begun to appear. After opening up a spatial zone within the origin monic crystal, one could cultivate the technique within the superclass of star energy and condense a star seed within the body. At that time, it would be able to bring out the greatest effect of the starlight silent step. However, judging from the current situation, the difficulty of opening up this spatial zone was even higher than Shaoyan had imagined. Sweat covered Shaoyan's forehead. He gritted his teeth, enduring the intense pain radiating from within his body. As the origin monic ki surged, his body felt as if it were about to explode. His meridians swelled painfully, as if they might burst out of his skin. Swoosh. As time passed, Shaoyan began to feel dizzy. His skin had turned bright red from the violent eruption of origin ki, as though fresh blood was seeping out. The massive rock he stood on had actually begun to melt. The grass around him spontaneously combusted without any visible flame, emitting a charred odor. Xiaoao had already emerged from Shaoyan's body. It watched Shaoyan's condition with concern. This guy's luck was really poor. He had just used the fire lotus, consuming all the origin ki in his body, and now he was attempting to open up the space within the origin monic crystal. The difficulty of opening the origin monic crystal was far greater for him than for ordinary people. Shaoyan's origin ki had been fused with yin and yang, dealing tremendous damage to the crystal. If he wasn't careful, it could cause unimaginable harm to the origin monic crystal. Xiaoao rubbed its small face in frustration, pouted, and sat on the ground, carefully observing its surroundings to ensure Shaoyan would not be disturbed in the slightest. While Shaoyan was focused on calming his energy and opening the spatial zone within his body, Hongxing and Guden had already left the extreme star group. They were rushing toward the Dark Blood Mountain. Meanwhile, the higher-ups of the Spirit King sect, alerted by the deafening explosion of the Fire Lotus, dozens of experts had already taken to the skies. Chasing after clouds and moonlight, they sped toward the Blood Dark Mountain. For a moment, the two forces advanced with menacing auras. Wherever they passed, their oppressive might was palpable. Master Gu, do you feel the heat in the air? At the end of his sightlines stood Mount Blood Death. Hongxing's expression suddenly changed, and he spoke with solemnity. Guden's plump face also revealed a trace of gravity as he nodded solemnly. As an expert who cultivated fire attribute origin ki, he had an extraordinary sensitivity to the exceptionally hot fire attribute energy lingering in the air. This isn't the work of a spirit king. Could it be Shaoyan? His white beard trembled, recalling what the Black Nether Emperor had said earlier, that Shaoyan possessed the monic flame. Guden's expression shifted, and he spoke in a low voice. There's no aura of a spirit king. Is that guy dead? Hongxing halted, looking around with a shocked expression. A trace of fear began to form in his heart. If Shaoyan could kill a spirit king, even if the two of them joined forces, they might still suffer a great loss. How is that possible? No matter how strong Shaoyan is, he's still only a monic emperor. Can a single monic flame allow him to kill an emperor cultivation expert? Guden let out a cold snort. A bright light flashed in his eyes as he disdainfully dismissed Hongxing's words. Don't be careless. Compared to Guden, who had grown up under the Black Nether Emperor, Hongxing's senses were much sharper. Immediately, the origin ki within his body began to surge, and he withdrew all his external aura. Look, it's those people from the Spirit King sect. I think they've realized something has happened here. There's a high chance the Spirit King has been defeated by Shaoyan. Hongxing's eyes were gloomy as he gazed into the distance. About 10 experts wearing the robes of the spiritual kings were rushing in the direction of the Dark Blood Mountain. What? Hearing Hongxing's words, Guden's expression changed drastically. He hurriedly followed Hongxing's gaze. When he clearly saw the group of spirit kings, he could no longer maintain his earlier calm. That Shaoyan is actually this powerful. Guden shook his head in disbelief, inwardly speechless. Although he knew from the Black Nether Emperor that Shaoyan had defeated the genius of the Kang family, Kang Feng, he still found it hard to believe that a Monic Emperor could kill an Emperor cultivation expert. Being able to bring a declining academy back to win the #1 spot in the 4 academies competition, and also defeat Kang Feng of the Kang family single-handedly, I'm sure he has many trump cards. It's reasonable that he could defeat an Emperor cultivation expert. Hongxing's voice was heavy as he spoke slowly. At the same time, he thought to himself, I suspect he's the descendant of that old monster from the Xiao clan, and he has even more resources than Shaoyi. Since the Spirit King has been defeated, I suppose Shaoyan has escaped as well. Guden frowned. A trace of helplessness emerged in his heart. He had received orders from the Black Nether Emperor to invite Hongxing and the Spirit King to the Dark Underworld. He hadn't expected that by the time he and Hongxing arrived, the Spirit King might already be dead. Hearing this, Hongxing pursed his lips and suddenly sat cross-legged in the air. His 10 fingers formed a seal as he said, Great Master Gu, I will let you experience the cultivation technique of the Extreme Star Group. 2 of my disciples have fought with Shaoyan before. With some luck, I may be able to sense Shaoyan's position. Hongxing's eyes were tightly shut as he spoke. His fingers moved rapidly through a series of hand seals. In an instant, the origin key at his fingertips rolled and transformed into starlight. A soul-stealing luminance also emanated from between his brows. The starlight at his fingertips coalesced into a cluster of tiny stars. Guden quietly observed Hongxing's actions. Standing in mid-air, he gently stroked his beard. Light flickered in his eyes as he recalled the tasks the Black Nether Emperor had instructed him to carry out. He chuckled inwardly. Hongxing's strength was considered outstanding. If he could be recruited by the Black Nether Emperor, it would be a great asset. Among the top 10 experts in the chaotic crowd, only Hongxing remained. While Guden was deep in thought, Hongxing had already opened his eyes. The stars at his fingertips flickered with a dazzling light, jumping rapidly. He's still here. Looking at the stars on his fingertips, Hongxing sneered and fixed his dark eyes on the dense forest in the distance. He transformed into a ray of light and charged forward. Guden raised his eyebrows but said nothing. He immediately followed. The sect master must have fought Shaoyan here before. Looking at the chaotic forest below, some of the higher-ups of the group couldn't help but speak. Now, neither of their auras can be sensed. Where exactly did they go? The leader of the group, a fair-skinned man, panted heavily and shouted angrily. Lord Spirit King is an Emperor cultivation level warrior. Nothing can happen to him. He must have gone elsewhere. A rough-faced man spoke with a gloomy expression. Wu. The fair-skinned man clenched his teeth tightly. His gaze paused for a moment before suddenly snapping toward the distance. 2 figures were flying madly in the direction. It's the sect master of the Extreme Star Group, Hongxing, and the left envoy of the Dark Underworld, Guden. What are these 2 doing here? After recognizing the identities of the 2 men, everyone was stunned. Glancing coldly at the group of Monic Emperor warriors, Hongxing let out a cold snort. The light on his fingertip pulsated, as if guiding him towards something. He. A ferocious smile emerged on his face. Hongxing turned and rushed toward a spot below. The origin key in his body condensed, his strongest attack ready to be unleashed. Swoosh! At that moment, a figure suddenly burst out from the dense forest below, fleeing wildly into the distance. Before Hongxing could attack, Guden had already given chase. In a short moment, he caught up. Extending 5 fingers, a glowing red chain shot out, instantly trapping the fleeing figure. Puff! A sonic boom sounded. The moment the chain made contact, the figure transformed into a cluster of core ki and dissipated. Transforming pill. Before Hongxing and Guden could react, another figure flashed like a star, instantly shooting out from the dense forest. He appeared on a mountain peak in the distance. Swoosh! Everyone looked toward the mountaintop. A young man in a black shirt calmly patted the dust from his shoulders. He looked at the distant crowd and smiled, slowly extending his right hand and crooking his finger at them. His clear voice rang in everyone's ears. Come here. Chapter end. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.